All right. Good morning, everybody. Just going to work on my YouTube channel. Should have friggin' error. It's all right. I still look better than 80% of the people on this app. Been an eventful couple of days, so let's load up Crusader Kings. No, that's the wrong Crusader Kings. Short buzz moment. All right, Crusader Kings 3. And I gotta make sure I screen mirror it. Okay. Hope everyone else is doing good. Holiday season is over, so. Okay. Oh, what the heck? Sorry, the wrong game launched. We're just off to a stellar start today, aren't we? It's not even a Monday, it's a Tuesday. Ain't that funny? Okay, so we're gonna get into Crusader Kings 3. So for those of you that have never played this game, it's a role-playing game. But in addition to that, it has the unique feature of it also has the strategy component. So, it's not just playing World of Warcraft, like going and completing quests. I'm Bowen of Antioch, and I want to get married to Sibylla, and Sibylla already has a husband, so I have to assassinate her husband. It works exactly like that. Okay, so let's make sure that we screen mirror. Let's see. Yep, here we go. There. All right, now I'm just in the bottom corner. All right, anywho, let's get going. Also, I am hiring moderators. Feel free to slide into my DM. Though I can warn you now that in a startup, early on, a lot of the payment has to do more with me finding you connections that are willing to pay you for work. So, but I do know a couple of big ones. The folks that own the house don't seem to think so, but I'm a big believer that with a blue check mark, you do actually have to verify an ID. That makes it real. But I digress. So, let's talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions today. Now, with New Year's resolution, I just responded to a comment on my Facebook. Yes, I do respond to just about every comment I get, so come at me. The mistake everyone makes with New Year's resolutions is, I don't mean to single anyone out. If you are in the larger community, I don't mean to offend you, but if you're someone who, let's say, is 5'10" and 260, and they're unhappy with their physique, and they're not at the gun show, then people will say, "Oh, I want to get a six-pack this year." That's not an achievable goal. Even me, I have a little bit of a stomach and I'm working it off, but me getting a six-pack in the next month or two is not realistic. What is achievable, though, is 3 to 4 pounds a week. You can get very weak. I tried intermittent fasting about a week ago, and I was eating about 800 calories a day. It's rough. It's rough. Just sitting there, you finish another set of RDLs, you're all pumped up, and you walk past the cookie jar, and you're just like, so... I'm gonna try a new game. I was just playing some random Central Asian content, but I'm gonna play as. Oh yeah, these are always fun. So I'm gonna play as Rubber. Now the Hotfields and the Coltfields, which was the two families that essentially ran Sicily in this time, they're very interesting because they were a group of. Oh, don't worry about that. It's just a joke. They were a group of landless nobles from Normandy, so in the north of France, that after the Norman conquest were essentially forced out because their services were no longer needed as soldiers. Because, once the war is over, it's hard to really justify keeping that large of a standing army together if it's not the modern era. So you generally disband most of the troops. And so they were in the unfortunate position of basically saying, well, you can't go, but you can't stay here. And so they left. And they initially began work as mercenaries for the people of southern Italy, and fighting for Salerno and fighting for Capua and some of these other little city-states. But eventually they managed to manipulate it so that they not only had so much power over them that they could control their payment, but they started actually taking over land for themselves, which is impressive. The Normans, they were something else. But one second, y'all. Just important text. I gotta answer this now. I'm sure we all have that person in our lives. Anywho, so this is Apulia. So so those of you that are new at the game, The tabs are a little different than the previous one, but the basics of it is this. So this down here, this is your specialty. So if you look at our character, so Marshall is, you get 50% more Marshall based on his education. So definitely want to go with the Marshall side of these three. Let's see. Shall we? 40. You know, we're going to be taking a lot of territory, so I think I'm going to go with authority. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're good to go. And next, oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So, what everyone eat for breakfast today? I had pistachios. That was it. Trying to cut. All right, so let's send them there. And Boyman's, oh, that's my Instagram handle is actually Boyman1095 after Boyman, so I'll tell you more about that later. Anyway, so in my experience in this game, you almost always want to accept alliances when they're offered, unless it's someone that's in an exceedingly weak position, meaning they're surrounded on all sides by enemies, and joining them in an alliance would only mean you have to suffer diplomatic penalties for not going to war. So those are the situations I want to avoid. All right, probably into about 20 or 30 minutes today. I don't even care if anyone use it. This is just practice. All right, so we're going to employ court physician. That's probably important. Yeah. All right, so you don't even think I ended the stream abruptly, but this is not peak time to be playing video games. So